Hello everyone. Tonight I'm going to tell you a short, true ghost story. The person who experienced this named Sitha, and his story is titled Encountering a Ghost on the Road. I'll tell it as if I'm Sitha himself. This spooky story was happened since 2013. Actually, I live and work in Phnom Penh. But one day back then, my boss sent me and 2 other colleagues to work in Siem Reap province for a month. So we packed up and headed to our destination on the date the boss set. I drove my own car, and my 2 colleagues rode with me. I remember we left Phnom Penh around 2 a.m. because we figured the weather would be cool and comfortable at that hour, and there wouldn't be much traffic. But after picking up my friends, I suddenly felt really sleepy. So I let one of my friends drive instead, and I moved to the back seat. I left the other friend in the front so they can chat and avoid falling asleep while driving. However, they were talking so loudly that I still couldn't sleep. I don't remember the exact time, but I do remember that about an hour after leaving Phnom Penh, my 2 friends who had been chatting happily suddenly went completely silent. They didn't say a word. It was so strange that I asked them what was wrong. The friend who was driving then said that just a moment ago, we had seen a woman in white clothes sitting on a large tree branch that was leaning over the road. We saw her clearly. And not only that, but her face was covered in blood. Just hearing my friend say that, I was terrified, my heart pounding almost out of rhythm. But after that, nothing strange happened to us. We reached our destination safely. Once we got to Siem Reap, we started working as planned by our boss. After the month was up, my 2 colleagues took a bus back to Phnom Penh, but my boss asked me to stay for another week. One day, which was a day off and also close to my return to Phnom Penh, I drove around to relax and get away from my complicated work. A little later that evening, I drove back to my accommodation. As I was heading back, my car suddenly made a sound, like I had hit something. It wasn't too loud, maybe like a dog or a cat. But when I stopped the car and got out to check, there was no sign of anything. So I continued driving, thinking the sound must have come from somewhere else. I hadn't even driven 100 meters from that spot when an ambulance came from behind and passed me. What was unbelievable was that as the ambulance was driving in front of my car, one suddenly saw a woman with a bloody face looking back at my car through the clear window of the ambulance. I don't dare to conclude whether it was a ghost or not, but from what I know, the medical staff in an ambulance probably wouldn't allow any patient to sit up like that, and certainly not to look back at my car with such a terrifying face. Feeling unwell, I slowed down to let the ambulance get a bit further ahead of me. Perhaps I was just having an extremely unlucky day to keep encountering strange things like this. After the ambulance disappeared, I drove onto a quiet road. There, I saw a white 1990 Camry stopped on the side of the road, and in front of the car a man was standing, looking at his engine. At that moment, I just saw it. I didn't slow down to help. But after driving a little further, I thought I should go back and help that man, because someone helped me when my car broke down in the past, too. Immediately, I put on my signal to pull over. But when my car backed up a bit and I turned to look at the road behind me, everything was empty. There was no car or person behind my car. It was truly very strange. In just a few seconds, how could they have disappeared from the road? It was definitely a ghost haunting me. My guess is that what I saw earlier might have been the spirits of people who had died in traffic accidents at that spot. It was lucky that they only haunted me by appearing normally. If I had seen them with ugly or bloody faces, I probably would have had a heart attack and died, because I'm very afraid of ghosts. At that point, knowing it was an unlucky day, I took out my necklace with the Buddha pendant, held it in my hand, and asked for protection. After that, I continued to my accommodation without encountering any more hauntings. Thank you everyone for spending the time listening until the end of the story. Hope to see you guys in the next video.